And okay, so um, all right. Hello. Hello, everyone. I'm Rosso Royce Laurie from Cool Folks Who Love the Bachata. We're in season number two, and I'm back here in New York City. Yeah, last year when we opened up live with Cool Folks Love the Bachata, I broadcasted live from Atlanta. Yes, but this year we are in New York. I'm happy to be back. Facebook, social media, thank you for allowing me to do this for second season. I didn't think you guys were going to take me seriously after going online with my guests for like 8 hours straight, and so thank you for not falling asleep. So I appreciate it. And yes, we are in season number two. So I just wanted to apologize for the late start off, but actually everyone knows I'm always late anyway. So thank God I'm not on NBC anyway. But anyway, I'm happy to be here, and I mean that. You know, so much is going on in the world these days. I don't even know where to begin. We got like world disasters with the weather. We got raining every day. We got earthquakes and stuff. Oh God, we got the recession. We got the economy going bad again. We got wars going on across the world. People are getting sick, and etc. and etc. and etc. and etc. It keeps on going. So I just thought it's a good idea, to do these interviews. Like everyone can just like take a break from all the world stuff that's going on. Take a break from dancing. Also, let's do something different. Let's bring, cool folks love the bachata live with me, so they could tell you guys a little bit about them. It's one thing, to look at a flyer or to look at a video or to look at an event promo or something, and you see the guy and the girl smiling and advertising that we got an event tonight and you guys got to come. But it's a total different game when these guys go live with me and they talk. Like, what do they do when they're not dancing and DJing and performing? What do they do at home with their families? What careers do they have? Like, what are their activities? What are their hobbies? What are their future? Where do they see themselves going like 5, 6, 10 years from now? So this is the main reason I wanted to bring cool folks who love the bachata live with me, so they have the opportunity to better promote themselves, not their event, but to promote themselves as individuals. So this is their opportunity to shine to the world, and you guys can get to know them a little bit more. So that's the main reason I'm doing this. I'm not really for publicity, not really for money. I mean, I already got a second job, but I'm just, good to do stuff that's unconditional and just do stuff that you love, and this is what I love to do. I really do. Um, just a couple quick announcements before I bring my guest on. I just want to say a big thank you to Central Movement. I made it out this past weekend in Orlando. Yep, I went back home to Florida to celebrate uh, with Central Movement. Anna Sim, you did a great job as always. So thank you and your Central Movement people. Um, Summer's coming up, and I do plan to continue giving my support to as many cool folks who I love the bachata members. I am planning to come to the Viva La Bachata Bodies event in Maryland in a few weeks. I'm planning to come back home and in about 7 days back to Atlanta, coming to the Mike Arana's event. Um, I'm planning to go for the first time to Las Vegas. Yes, and I'm planning to come back to California after 7 years. So I'm going to do my best. The economy sucks, but I'm going to do my best to try to get inexpensive airfares so I can come support all of you guys and say thank you for being you. And you guys are doing a great job. I've been to your events, I've seen your promos, I've seen your ads. You guys are very like intellectual. You guys are charming. You guys are loyal, and you guys are cool. That's why we're cool folks who love the bachata and more. And so okay, enough talking. I know Facebook is like, Russell, just get to the point. I can't get to the point. Anyway, my guest tonight. Okay. Oh, I didn't even know where to begin. This guy deserves an Emmy award. No, not an Emmy award, an Oscar award. Yeah, forget the Emmy award. Let's just go to the Oscar. I mean, he's a director. He's a director of Beastly Media Group. Okay, he's a digital creator. He's a DJ mixer on AirJock. Okay, he's the owner of Speedy Junior. Yes, he's the owner. I mean, he does DJ lesson, and he's a family man, and he's a good person, and I be truthful, and him and I just talked about this a second ago. Even though him and I have not met yet, I feel as if that's one thing about social media and this media stuff. You don't really have to be side by side by that person to know that you know them. With media and stuff, it's like reaching out to the person and they're reaching out to you. I feel as if I've known this guy and I know it's a weird concept, but I just feel as if I've known him for a while. But he's here. Luis Gonzalez is here. He's gonna talk to us also about La Mezclaton. Hopefully I got that right, and yeah, hopefully I do. No, but okay. But he's gonna be here, and I'm blessed to have him on because he's a super busy guy, and he took the time just to meet with a little nobody named Roswell. So I just want to thank him in advance for doing this. So without me talking much more, let me bring Mr. Gonzalez on air so we can talk. Okay. Um, Hi,
Hello,
Mr. Gonzalez. How
hello.
are you?
How's everyone doing?
I'm speaking on behalf of everyone. Everyone is doing okay.
Great, great. Of course, yourself, Mr. Roswell. Thank you so much for inviting me on and
You're
talking to me.
very
Yeah.
welcome. One of the reasons I wanted to do these one-on-one interviews like on Restream because I don't want it to be like one of those like public rowdy like you and I talking and then this
Right.
person and that person and strange people are jumping in and jumping out and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was hoping to make it as much private and professional and low key and stuff. But uh but I'm happy to have you here. I mean, first of all, let's begin. And I know I asked you this question before. Let's talk about your background there. I like the scenery. What's on the
Oh, the
shelf?
background behind me.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a big fan of fandom, nerdom, comic books, video games, stuff like that. So I got a bunch of things that just make me happy in my room here. Plus my DJ equipment and stuff. This is where I do my lives on my YouTube channel. And
Mm.
this desk right here where I'm sitting at is where I also do a podcast for work, but it's really because I want to do it. It's a fandom podcast. We talk about Marvel, Star Wars, DC, science fiction, fantasy, whatever we feel like talking about on day. I also do that as well. Yeah. So that's
You
what
know,
this room is all about.
yeah, I
Music
work
and
for
and things that I like.
great. I work for a toy company. I do like I'm a contract specialist, and I actually work for a toy company. I
Oh,
grew up
really?
in the '80s and the '70s.
Yeah. Yeah.
I grew up with like GI Joe,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Transformers, He
That's what I got.
Man.
Some Transformers, some Robotech back there. Some
I thought you
yeah.
did, even without my glasses. I
Yeah,
thought you.
yeah,
I didn't want to
they're
say
back there.
anything, but
I just can't
I
zoom in this particular camera, but yep, I
Transform.
got some yep,
Go?
Transformers.
Do you remember GoBots?
I got a GoBot, some GoBots on top there. Yep.
God, I
I got
love
a what's the what was the leader? Leader one. He's leader one's up there somewhere.
the plane. Yeah, he
Yep.
converted into a
Mm-hmm.
jet.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then the bad
Mm-hmm.
guy cycled in. The
Yeah.
sexy
Cyclone.
hot
Yeah.
villain
Mm-hmm.
Crusher.
Yeah.
The black car. She's like,
Uh huh. Yeah.
oh,
Here's a little toy trivia for that for because you like GoBots. So Cyclone, the big robot, the big
yeah,
toy of Cyclone, that
yeah.
was a copy of the motorcycle from Robotech because they bought the rights for the Japanese cartoon that was the third part of
Mm.
Robotech, and they just decided to use it as the Cyclone toy for GoBots.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
So if you look it up and you look at Cyclone and you'll put in Robotech or Mousepeda, whatever you want to put, and you'll see the
Mhm.
toy of Cyclone, and he looks like looks like the bike from Robotech.
Yeah, that was like I love that car too. And
Yeah.
you had like Crusher and
Yeah.
Cycle or
Cycle.
whatever, and then
Sorry,
Scooter.
Cycle. That's Cyclone. Cycle. Yeah, that was his
Yeah,
name. Yep.
yeah. And do you remember He Man also?
He Man too. Yep.
That's it. Tila
Yeah,
was
He Man was
hot.
great.
Tila was. I'm
Have
so
you watched the new
interested.
He Man stuff? The new He Man stuff on Netflix. It's great.
Oh, really?
Oh, you
Yeah.
got to check it out when you get a chance.
I'm still trying to like, pump up to look like Masters of the Universe, but it ain't working out. So I'm trying
It's
to get the
okay.
muscles.
I'm far away too. Don't worry.
Um, you see, I was right about you. I do kind of know you. You see, it's like that spiritual connection that
Yeah, yeah,
we have.
definitely.
I was right
I,
about.
you have a lot of passion for the dancing community and for the music, and I always see your posts, and I became a joined your group, and we're happy to know you and to be part of your community online. So.
Well, Mr. Gonzalez, one of the main reasons I do this is like, I created Cool Folks during COVID. Actually, no, yeah, during COVID, when I first had COVID, I think it was
Mm-hmm.
March 19 when it
Okay.
first came out for all of us, right? So while I was planning my funeral plans, because I was like, oh, I'm not going to
Oh,
get through it
goodness.
after 6 months of being bedbound, and I said, you know what, I can't make it to the seventh month.
Right.
I know I'm going to go up. So I said, what can I do before I go? And I was thinking about my dad, and my dad, my dad, he always wanted me to do something unconditional, from the heart, because um, I was one of those like weird New Yorkers, legal person. I was always into like finance and money and
Mm-hmm.
greed, and stuff. And that was my awakening call to do something from the heart, to give to the world. My dad. So I was thinking about my dad. My dad, what a, he was like Russell. just do something unconditional. Just do it because it's the right thing. So I said, sure. And I chose the dance world. I said, of all the industries on this planet, the dance world, the bachata industry, because I have a lot of respect,
Hmm.
for the Dominican cultures and Latin community in general.
Right. Right.
So I said, if I'm going to create a platform, it's going to be focused on
Hmm.
the bachata dance world, right?
That's awesome.
So I created Cool Folks Who Love the Bachata, and that was the same time I moved to Texas,
Hmm.
and I wanted to come up with a unique name, right? So check this out. So I was in Texas. So right after I recovered from COVID,
Hmm.
and I
Hmm.
wanted to brainstorm some stuff. So I asked
Right.
Facebook, how about if I create a group called Cool People Who Love the Bachata? Facebook responded, they're like, that's too plain. So I said, how about cool men who love the bachata? They emailed me back. They said, you're being biased. What about women? I said, okay, fine. What about cool women and men who love the bachata? They're like, Rossville, come on. So I said, cool folks who love the bachata. And
There
they're
you go.
like, wow. So that's how it became Cool Folks Who Love the Bachata,
Awesome.
because I was in Texas. I was
Hmm.
walking around trying, recovering from COVID and trying
Right.
to get my life back. And I'm like, folks, and you guys are all cool from all around the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh,
And
okay, so
I
that
love doing bachata sets, so I feel
yeah,
at
yeah,
home.
yeah. I got into the bachata stuff on a personal level because I was dating someone
Hmm.
from DR. It was my first relationship, and then when the relationship went downhill,
Mm.
all these crazy thoughts were going on in my head. Like I'm not good enough. I'm stupid. It's time for me to just take poison and all of that stuff that goes through a man's head. When a relationship. You
Yeah.
know, And I said there has to be more goodness to this world, and there has to be some reason for me to live. So I got into the music, and I just turned it on by chance. I didn't know who Romero was. I didn't know who Aventura. I didn't know who Prince was. I
Okay.
just said, let me just play around with the radio. I'm tired of listening to American music, and I heard was it Aventura? I believe their first song. Now let me
Yes.
remind everyone, I don't know anything in Spanish, but for some odd reason, by the grace of God, it just clicked in my heart. The music, I felt as if I've known Spanish since I was a kid. You know that feeling? It
Hmm.
just clicked, and everything the song was saying, it made sense. And I didn't feel depressed. I didn't feel like to kill myself. I felt like to go back out there and just start a new life and enter the dance world and go to bachata events. So I fell
You
in love
are,
with it. I
yeah,
fell in
and
love
and
with the
and
culture.
don't feel ashamed of that, because a lot of people who are of different races or maybe don't speak the language fall in love with the music the same way you did, and continue to do so to this day, because that's our culture. It's a very passionate music, and sometimes the language barrier doesn't even matter. The music, the musicians bring the emotion and convey that emotion just through the notes, through the arrangement. Salsa,
Oh yeah,
bachata,
yeah.
merengue, whatever it is.
Yeah. I'm happy you're saying that because now I'm brainstorming here. I thought to enter the world of bachata and salsa and everything that's connected to the Latin music
Hmm.
industry and stuff. I thought number one, I had to have speak the language because I was afraid that if I walk into how can I say that if I walk into like a bachata club or whatever
Hmm.
in a
Hmm.
city where it's all
Hmm.
like Dominicans or whatever,
Right.
I walk in there and they might look at me like, "What are you doing here? Are you lost? You're not one of us." You know, Go out. I was
No.
so afraid, but then I began to realize that there's so much love in that community. When I mean love, like this bachata stuff has exploded
Yeah.
since ever I opened up Cool Folks a couple years ago. Look, it exploded. You got people from Japan,
Yeah.
people from Russia,
Hmm.
people from it's not only a DR stuff. It's
No, it's
a
not.
it's a it's a
It's a global
it's
movement. Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, and I was
Especially
surprised.
from DJing to dancing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that. I respect that. So, because back in my days, man, when I was in the '70s and the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
'80s and stuff, I mean, where I grew up, you had to have look a certain way, dress a certain. I mean, you had
Mm-hmm.
to speak the same language. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You had to like
Mm-hmm.
fit in those
Hmm.
clips.
New York was a
That's
different
right.
world in those decades. It's
Oh
not
yeah,
not definitely
yeah,
not
yeah.
how it is now.
Oh no,
M-
no, no.
And
Things
it,
are
it
very
took me
diverse.
I had to watch an old documentary of the Zodiac killer or something like that to realize how different New York City was back then because didn't think about it that way until I saw that documentary. I was like, wow, New York City was a different animal back then. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I'm happy things exploded. So, how did you get
Hmm.
into? Well, let me ask you first. There's so much I wanted to ask you, but how did you get into the bachata? There's so many, you got salsa, you got
Hmm.
mambo, you got
Hmm.
line dancing,
Hmm.
you got, you got
Hmm.
rock, hip hop. How did you? I mean, how
Well,
did you end up getting into the bachata industry? Like, how is it by chance? Because of it's a move you planned it. How did you
well,
you know start
I
that
was
journey?
I could go really early to when I started DJing, which will probably be a really long conversation. But immediately about bachata, as far as the explosion for or as a music that I felt like I needed to play as a DJ a lot, um, probably was in here in Tampa. There was a bunch of little AM stations, and I started working for those AM stations, radio stations before FM. Now we have multiple Spanish stations in FM now in the Tampa Bay market, but back in probably 98 or the early 2000s, so 98 to the early 2000s, there was just AM. And probably until like 2005. And I was working for one of those AM stations, and Aventura came out. Aventura was the hot thing, you know? And that was probably the biggest. We were playing bachata as far as DJs were concerned. We were playing some, but like as a thing, like playing multiple tracks of bachata back to back and doing like a bachata set probably did not happen for me until Aventura and all those bands that came out at that time as well, because it was the movement, but
Mhm.
Aventura was such a big explosion from that first album that and you'd like it felt like our generation, was pushing this music. You know what I mean? This is the sound, and the salsa was similar for DLG and salsa. That was like Jerry Rivera, and those younger artists that our generation could relate to. The new reggaeton sound was still coming up, um, and all that was all mixed together. We were mixing all those tracks. So bachata was for me was important. It became on my radar, at that time. Yeah, and always has been. It's always important to me. It's always important for me to be on point and have all the newest bachata and represent the genre, as best as I can, and all the different styles of bachata now.
Oh yeah, you got
Yeah.
urban, you got
Hmm.
classic, you got. I didn't know that. When I lived in Texas, I didn't realize there were like different types of
Yeah.
bachata dance.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have sensual.
Hmm.
You have like urban. You have, what's that?
Hmm. Or the pop. I like to call it pop, or the pop sound, the urban sound.
Yeah, so I really gotta get with the sensual stuff because
The sensual stuff, good. And then, of course, there's the traditional. And then there's somewhere in between. Sometimes some of these artists are a fusion.
Mhm. Yeah, and Prince Royce. Now I just thought about it.
Yeah.
I just heard when I was in Orlando, they were playing one of his new songs, and he's more of oh god, what did they say? He's mixing. He's doing something fabulous now. He's taking this diversity stuff to a higher level. I think he's what does he do? Hip is it hip hop? I forgot. Not pop. I think it's hip
Mm-hmm.
hop and
Mm,
bachata.
he's
I
done
think
he's done trap and I like a hip hop, but in Spanish.
yeah, I like that. I mean, I like that's a good thing about talking about this. Bachata is like exploding because there's so much love by other communities and other cultures that are accepting the bachata industry and
They are.
not being
They are.
afraid to taking it to the next
Mm-hmm.
level.
Absolutely.
I
Um.
like that, really do. Now you, sir. Okay,
Yes.
my goodness. So you're the owner.
Mm-hmm.
You're the owner of Speedy Junior.
Yeah, so
So
that's my DJ name also, Speedy Junior, DJ Speedy Junior, um,
okay.
and I have a, of course, I run it as a company, like a little company. I do still weddings and quinceañeras and sweet sixteens, nightclubs, dance socials, yeah, a little bit of everything. So I do all I operate all that under DJ Speedy Junior. Whenever anybody wants to book me as a DJ.
Oh, definitely. You have to post some of your stuff on my Bachata Facebook, like any of your events. Like, feel free to post it. I'll be honest with you, sir.
Yeah.
There's 3,000 people on it, and I can't keep track of everyone. As you can tell, I'm bad with time management. I mean, look what time we started this interview.
It's
You
okay.
know, I mean,
It's all right.
so if yeah, I mean, feel free. What you just said, I love that because not many of the people I know are have your talent. I mean, um, so do that. The booking of the event stuff. I haven't heard that in a while, so maybe you can
Yeah,
let post that so everyone
I
can know
will.
about it
Yeah, I
universally.
will. I will.
Yeah.
I'll put some ads up and stuff like that, and I'll share it with you guys. And I do have a regular Friday night that I play a lot of bachata at a nightclub.
You-
So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna share that with you guys here in Tampa.
yeah. And even if it's not bachata, it could be, some of these people. If it's kind of funny, guys. Cool folks love the bachata. Is the cool folks who love the bachata, and then you see line
But
dancing and country
I'm sure they
dancing. I
like to
don't
do a bunch
care.
of different stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't care. So love is love. Um,
Yeah.
but how did you get like Speedy Junior? Why not, you
Okay.
know, Speedy Bobby or Speedy Rossi? Speedy
It's a very
Rossi.
boring story, but I will tell it.
Yeah.
I've told it a bunch of times, but I will tell it to you here live on here on your channel. Um, my father, his nickname was Speedy, and he had that nickname growing up. He was a piano player back in the '70s, and he would play in the New York City and Connecticut area. He would be a piano player for different salsa bands and stuff like that. And when we moved to Florida, he always had a friend that would DJ'd, and his friend, he learned how to DJ from his friend a little bit, or at least how to operate DJ equipment. And we're talking about like putting a needle on a record and old school stuff. And he learned, but my father had so much skills as being a musician. It was just like, okay, that's cool, but it wasn't like, oh, I want to be a DJ. But until he moved here to Florida and he saw that he he would collect a lot of music. We would have a lot, like all the newest stuff all the time, and even old stuff too. So who was the DJ at the unofficial DJ at the family parties was my father or me, because I liked it too as well. And I started growing up with all the '80s hip hop movement and watching Grandmaster Flash and all the break dancers and breaking and electric boogaloo and all that stuff. And I liked music from that side, from the hip hop side too as well. My father noticed that and made a DJ company. And so every time I would go out and DJ with him, weddings or quinceañeras or whatever crazy DJ name I would try and come up with, they would just say, "Oh, so you're Speedy Junior. You're Speedy Junior." Yeah, and even to nightclubs and stuff like that, there's, "You're Speedy Junior because you're Speedy's son. You're Speedy Junior," and I just kept it because it was I kept trying to go against the grain, and the people named me Speedy Junior, and just didn't want to let it go. So that's how it stayed, Speedy Junior. That's it. I wish it
Imagine
was
if
more
your
exciting of a name, but or more exciting story, but
yeah, imagine if your dad's name was Roswell. You know,
that's
it
okay.
would have been cool. I'm
They
going
might
live with Speedy Roswell.
they might associate it with Roswell, New Mexico.
It's Speedy Rossi.
Yeah.
Uh, but I like that Speedy because it's so I don't know. I think that's the name matches you because I mean, as I said before, I mean, look, you're a director, you're a digital creator, you're this, you're that. So just the name Speedy, you
Hmm.
know, even forget the junior part, Speedy. That symbolizes somebody who holds more than one title. You know,
Oh well, yeah,
because Speedy. I mean, you got to be speedy, like to do this and do that. Be a family man, be a friend,
yeah,
be a DJ, be an
yeah,
instructor,
yeah.
you
I like
gotta
to
be
be. I like to think that it means that it's very energetic. So I feel like I have a lot of energy, even when I don't. At least I try to.
So how do you manage? I know you mentioned that you're also you're a granddad as well. So
Yeah.
how maybe this is a Roswell question. Maybe you can help
Hmm.
me with time management. So how is it possible you're a family man, you're a loyal friend, you're in the entertainment business? I mean, you got your own show, you're a digital creator, you're a director. Without someone cracking, I know it has to do with a lot of experience and stuff, but how do you manage to keep it together? You know what I'm saying? I mean, because you're a celebrity. When you think about it, you're in a spotlight. You're well known. And especially with social media, I mean, you gotta, like with me, my mom just told me a couple weeks ago, be careful what I say because people could be listening and whatever. Be careful
Yes.
what I post and whatever. So my mom was telling me, be careful. Keep it low. You're in social media. You don't want to aggravate people. So, but you have it worse than I do because you have more titles. You have more. You have more. How can I? You have more status than I do. So how do you keep it together? You know what I'm saying?
It's very hard, Roswell. It's very
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Um, I've gotten better at it through experience. Um, I've always had multiple things going on. I guess since I was even in high school, because I started DJing so young. So DJing has always been a second part of my life, even if I had a part-time job or a full-time job, or that I guess in adulthood it's just become second nature to me to operate it as a separate time than from my job time, you know? And Google Calendar, my friend. Google Calendar. Google Calendar, or if you are iPhone person, whatever calendar you use, technology is amazing. If I didn't have a Google Calendar, I probably wouldn't remember my wife's birthday.
You don't want
Don't
to do
tell her that, okay?
that. Thank God for
So
Google Calendar.
yes, Google Calendar or whatever calendar that you have, or technology that you can remind yourself. Somebody tells me to, hey, we need to do this, whatever it is, work related, DJing related, the interview with you today. I put it in the Google Calendar, and that's law until you cancel with me or something. We have to pull it off the Google Calendar. That's how I get through, my friend. A lot of experience at doing it, and technology now. Before it
Mm,
was like a little black book, with a calendar, back in the day, But
yeah, that's what I
that
still
had it
do.
that had its its problems too, though. Dang, I forgot to check my calendar.
You have like an agent. I always want to ask you this. You have like a book. You have like a talent scout assistant or someone, or like a
I
booking agent or
don't.
someone.
I don't. I've always thought about getting one. Um, and I've always found it difficult to, for some
Mhm.
weird reason. Sometimes I find age people who are in the entertainment business that just don't know understand the DJ side of the business. Because even though it's musician performance, but it's not really. It's more of a you're more a presenter of music. You're more of a tastemaker, you know.
Mhm.
From or and I guess I'm my own booking agent right now, so I deal with everything directly. I do have booking agencies that book me um, for different events
Mhm.
locally, but that they are my manager per se and work with me exclusively. No.
Yeah, I know that feeling, sir, because like I was thinking about when I started to do this interview
Mm-hmm.
stuff last year. I was in Atlanta and stuff. I was the reason I was in Atlanta, as everyone knows. I wanted my mom. I take care of my 81-year-old mom, and
Right.
she fell into depression last year because her grandbabies my sister's kids relocated to Georgia because they had
Mm-hmm.
job opportunity for them and whatever. So my mom felt depressed. She's like, "Oh gosh, she missed her grandbaby." So I just packed up and zoom zam zoom drove all the way to Atlanta, um, and left her at my sister's house, and I just stayed in Atlanta. I hung out with the movie stars,
Yes,
but
sir.
uh, I I wanted to get a talent scout or someone. or even an intern to help me with this interview stuff because
Right.
I never really did this before. I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
I never went to, I never went to school for like acting or marketing or whatever. I went to school for psychology and,
Right.
whatever. So I said, I might need a professional. And then I put an ad through Craigslist, which is bad. And then you get these people, they're like, oh,
Ah, you know.
we'll start asking like guest of yours. We'll go to your Facebook if they want to
Right.
do it and whatever. I'm like, sure. Like $10, 12, no, $52. I'm like, 50, what? Just to call up John Doe XYZ and say, "Hey, would you like to?" I said, "You know
Yeah.
what? Forget it. On
Yeah.
Sunday afternoons after church or whatever, I'll take an extra 2 minutes."
That's also another reason why I
Yeah,
haven't gotten it because it's that how much will they want? It's kind of like
yeah, it's a waste of,
yeah. I don't know. Or just or haven't become famous enough yet to be in such high demand that I gotta hire somebody or look for one. I guess I don't know.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you are famous.
Thank
Okay.
you so much. I appreciate that.
As far as I'm concerned, you are famous, bro. You should
Thank you.
have your own. And like I was saying before, you should have your own cool folks who love to speedy. I said cool folks who love to speedy live with Roswell. No, not a bad idea. Cool folks who love to speedy. Um, Tell us about okay,
Hmm.
Beasley Media Group, and you
Yes.
know what I might ask you, because I'm all about
Hmm.
names.
No.
You're the director of Beasley Media Group.
Yeah.
How did you get the name? Is it Beasley, right?
Yeah.
Be-
Beasley is the company.
okay.
Beasley Media Group has different radio stations in different markets in the United States. Of course, here in Tampa. They also, I believe, they're in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. They're in Detroit. They're in Las Vegas. And I don't have the full list right now. I think they're even in Boston.
Oh wow,
Um,
they're
yeah, so they
everywhere.
have they're about like maybe 10 or 12 different radio markets in the United States. But they're also a media company, so they just don't do just radio. They do social media, video, podcasting, um, all that stuff. So they use their radio personalities as influencers, and yeah, so they have YouTube channels. They used to have a esports team,
Mhm.
the Houston Outlaws who used to play Overwatch. I don't know if you're familiar with that video game, but Beasley Media Group owned that team, esports team for a while before that got dissolved, and they have Twitch channels even. So they have their hands in a lot of media, different media, new age media. This new age media that we're living in, Facebook pages and YouTube channels and stuff like that, as well as radio assets as well. And that's what I do. I work in the video department for the Tampa Bay area, and I help promote the brands with video content, and also I work on audio content as well, and I DJ for the local radio station, which is 92.5 Maxima in Tampa, Florida. That was my original job. I was working more programming in the radio, and then now I'm the director of video and audio for the whole what we call a cluster, which is the whole group of radio stations in Tampa.
Now I don't know too much about video and audio. I know
Mm-hmm.
there's a difference between the two, but
Mm-hmm.
is it more challenging? Here's where the legal questions come in.
Okay.
Um, audio. Getting involved with videos, is it more challenging than the
It is.
audio aspect? I
It
mean, I know
is.
there's pros and cons, but
Mm-hmm.
from your perspective, and how is
There,
it?
there's a technology. You have to know what the files, how they work, and aspect ratios of your audio of your video. Also audio too. You have to know the bit rates and things, and what you're working with and stuff like that. Waves and MP3s and M4. Oh, I forgot what the iTunes format is. I think it's M4A or something like that. And you just have to know those things and how you need to be able to convert things and make it the right size if things come in too small and you need to blow it up or and it's not going to work that way. Yeah, you need to have a little bit of knowledge as far as like how that works and stuff like that.
Okay, okay. So, how do you handle all the stress and like, I mean,
My this room.
Dude,
This room is how I handle all the
go
stress.
bots.
Yes, GoBots
Go
and
bots.
Transformers, and all my nerdy stuff that I like. As part of it, I do hit the gym. Um, I DJing is not work to me, or is not stressful. And the act of DJing is not stressful to me. I guess I've been doing it so long, and I find it so enjoying that it's not work to me. It's like me going, maybe like if Roswell, if you like going to the basketball court, you know, or whatever it is you like to do. Let's say
Mhm.
basketball. You just like to play basketball, and
Yeah, yeah,
you're going to
yeah.
the basketball court today. And let's say one day you made it your business. You're teaching kids how to play basketball, and you're always going to the court, but you don't find it. It's not going to work. It's what you do, and that's what
Mm.
DJing has become to me now. It's like so it's also a stress reliever sometimes. Just go out and play music, and yeah, that's how I get through.
Oh, you want to hear something really funny? How I deal with stress and just in general, even
Uh huh.
in the media.
Yeah.
I should bring my mom on camera to tell you this. It just happened last night. I was like, I came back from a wonderful time in Orlando. I'm like, oh
Mm-hmm.
God, back to this crazy world.
Dancing. Yeah,
And
dancing's a good stress reliever.
yeah, especially on a Sunday or Monday, it hits
Yeah.
hard. Like it's like, oh
Mm-hmm.
God, it's over. Back to. So I
Yep.
decided to get like a bag of. I hope I don't get sued for saying this on air. A bag
Yeah.
of chips.
Yeah.
Not Doritos, so I don't get sued by Doritos.
Yeah.
But Lay's. I
Yeah.
got
Some stress
Lay's
food.
are
It's
good.
okay.
Don't get me
I got a
wrong.
big can of gummy bears on my bedside. That's my stress food right there. Gummy bears. Right
Really?
now. Right now. Yeah.
Oh, gummy bear. I didn't know. I think okay, maybe because of the sugar, right? The sugar.
Yeah.
They say sugar calms you down.
Yeah.
The gummy bears
That's
have
what they say.
with the sugar. So that's how I deal with it. So deal with stress, aggravation, all that stuff.
I
I
approve
just
of it,
eat a
sir.
pack of
Don't let
chips.
anybody tell you any different. Okay. I approve of it.
Yeah. Um. So I wanted to ask you. Okay. Let's see. Uh, DJ lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm happy you're doing DJ lessons and not me. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I know the people I interviewed last year. Most of them were dancers. As
Mm-hmm.
I was telling you before.
Right.
I always ask them, like, what is it like to like stand in front of a group of people that or don't know you teach, and how do you get the message across to them? But just like a teacher in high school, they're trying to get the message to the student.
Right.
Students, some may get it, some may not. Okay, but in your situation, it's a little similar because you're um you're teaching a technique. I can't say an art, but you're teaching a skill, a trade.
It's definitely a
Okay,
skill. Definitely a skill to
skill.
DJ.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. There might be people like me, Roswell,
Mm-hmm.
who come into your class or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I know everything. I know
Mm-hmm.
about DJ and
That
stuff.
happens all the time.
Yeah. So how do you deal with that BS person? Like, how do you be like, look, don't be an Art Roswell,
Well,
okay,
no, you would never
without
do that.
slapping
You would
him?
never do that, Roswell. Come on. So, I recently picked up the teaching DJing. I filled out an application for a company called Bachata, and they hired me to teach DJing, and I started actually, without I never really taught anyone how to DJ until I picked up that part time job. Um, and Bachata is around in all I think even in New York, and they do DJ lessons too. But my approach was, and it seems to work, is that no matter if you know or you think you know, I usually just say, "Hey, okay, well here, whether you know or you don't, here's two songs, right? Match the numbers, hit play on, hopefully on, with the beat, and when you hit play right, I try and get you to hit play right, cross the fader. Okay, you mixed your first song. Were you comfortable with it? No. Did it sound right? No. Well, then we got this is how we're gonna work now. We're gonna teach you how to operate the machinery, how to fly the plane, for lack of better words. Teach you all the buttons and all the dials mean, and what they do, and take it from there. DJ lessons is kind of like a music theory class. Have you ever gone to or maybe when you were a child, you ever, like an intro to music in even kindergarten or first grade, where they give you the recorder, the
Yeah,
little flute,
that just
the flute,
happened.
the flute
Yeah, in high
recorder thing that
school.
you go whoop
Yeah.
whoop 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 whoop. Well,
Oh, so that's how it works. Okay,
yeah,
I did it
yeah,
opposite.
that's how it
Then.
goes,
I
you know.
almost hurt myself.
But that's such an important class because it's actually teaching you music theory as a child.
Mm.
You know, they're teaching you, okay, this is when music bar staff is going to begin on this note, and they go, okay, 3 2 1 boo, and you play, you know what I'm saying, and they're teaching you, giving you an introduction to music theory. And that's
Mm.
what I feel like is the biggest thing that people think they know but they really don't know.
Mm.
Music is a language, right? And no matter what it is, it's bachata, it's salsa, it could be merengue, it could be hip hop, it could be house music, it could be whatever it is, reggaeton, reggae, dance hall, Afrobeat. I don't care what it is. Everything has a music theory. Everything has is in bars of 8, 16, 32. There's a chorus or a hook. There's a verse or a second verse. Sometimes there's a bridge. Sometimes there's a pre-chorus, and you have to recognize when those starts things begin, and when they end to DJ properly. And
Now,
that's probably the biggest thing that a lot of people think they know, and I have to be like, no, listen to what
right,
you just did. It didn't make no sense. It was just a mess. You know, this is how
right,
it's done. And then I have to show them, and then get them to start thinking about music critically.
right. Now, does it help a little bit if the person walks in there with a little open-minded, just like with
Yeah,
anything?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
If they're
just
definitely closed-minded, it's gonna take them a long time to learn how to DJ. And I will be there with them every step of the way, trying to teach them. I'm very patient when it comes to that. But you know, if they're very close-minded, it's gonna be a very long process for them. Definitely.
I'm happy I'm not doing it. I don't. I have patience, but not that. I'll be
Man.
like,
Yeah,
let's
you'll probably
join.
pick it up right. If you're a dancer, I know there's a lot of dancers watching this, right? If you're a dancer, you already know a little bit of music theory. You know how to start on one. That's very important for DJing. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
so you already know a little bit of music theory. Maybe you now understand what when a chorus starts or a verse starts or a bridge starts, but or ends. You still know a little bit of music theory to start dancing properly, right? Especially if you're dancing salsa on one or two, you know how to count the measures of a song to start properly. So yeah, that's a little bit
Well,
of music theory that you just learned.
well, you should have seen me this past weekend in Orlando. You probably would be like, Roswell, what the heck are you? Are you sure
Oh,
you do?
stop.
I was going crazy on the dance floor, bro, sir. I couldn't remember my 1 2 2 4. I was just having a good old
As
time on
long
the
as you're having a
dance
good
floor.
time, yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's
You
what it's all
know,
about. And DJing to me is having a good time. Man. I, there's of course there's negative sides to everything, but I enjoy making other people happy by playing music for them. So yeah.
okay, that's important. That's very important. And you said something that makes super sense. Everything you said made sense. Um, DJ, I mean, um,
Hmm.
to motivate to motivate someone or to
Hmm.
help them understand your happiness when you're in front of that mic and you're about to
Hmm.
play that song. I think that's very. I mean, I know a couple of my friends, DJ business. I could never get it. Like, I always ask them how. What's the magic of like getting like a grumpy old person on a dance floor smiling? Because that grumpy old person may have had a bad day at work or
Hmm.
bad day at home with his
Hmm.
family or job. So how do you guys become God or Jesus and for that 1 minute and make that person like yippee, that
Yeah.
takes a lot of no matter how much schooling you guys have
Hmm.
experienced, you can't depict what the future holds. You
No.
can't depict that it's going to work. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of pressure right there to go to try to
It is. It
knowing that you're
is.
going to play something that's going to affect
Hmm.
someone. So
It
what's the
is.
secret, if there is
The
one?
secret is preparation. If you're prepared with knowing your audience is the other thing too, as part of preparation too. Or what am I doing today? We're doing a bachata social. Okay. All right. I need to have all my bachata prepared. Oh, okay, we're doing a regular social where I'm gonna be playing a little bit of everything. Am I doing a regular nightclub night? I need to play reggaeton. Am I doing a top 40 night? A lot of preparation and knowing who your audience is. That is a little insight into the advanced part of the class, of the DJ class. After I teach you how to do it right, I start teaching you what's the word I'm looking for? Is the theory of programming music and looking at people and making good programming decisions, song selection decisions, you know, and just people watching. Really, if I'm playing, like you're with that face right now, listening or to your friend, having a conversation. I'm playing music. You're probably enjoying, what I'm playing. You're having a good time. Um, if you're just standing there looking at your phone, you're probably not enjoying your time. You know what I mean? If you're moving in the chair, that means you're liking what I'm playing. Even though you're not might quite be dancing, but I'm getting something out of you. It's good. Or you're bopping your head, or you're moving your feet. All those little things I look for. Even I'm just playing background music somewhere. Like a brunch or something. I look for all those things, and especially if they're dancing, of course, and what's working on a dance floor. And also, then there's also the movement of of the dance floor, as far as for lack of better explanation, if we're going to be selling alcoholic beverages. So it can't keep everyone at the dance floor all night, because guess what happens at the bar? No
Mm,
money's happening at the bar, and
yeah, that's something to consider.
so eventually I have to say, okay, let's take a break from salsa, and let's let some people dance bachata now, and maybe those salsa people will go get a beer or wine or something, and then we'll, of course, after maybe some other different sets of music, we'll go back to that. But that's just a little bit of the theory of, you know, how we play and why we play it for, for the particular reason. And,
No, that,
and some we might not win over that grumpy person at all. You know, it might just be a no-win scenario. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunately one of the pitfalls of DJing. But we try to make as many people happy as possible, and a lot of that's preparation and knowing your audience.
yeah, I'm one of those grumpy people. So you're gonna have to really work on
Just
me
play
when
you
I
some
come to
bachata, man.
campus.
You're gonna go crazy. You're fine. I already know the secret.
I'll give you a list of all my songs you're gonna play. I'll be like, I'm coming at this time, at that time. You better be
Yeah.
playing capital P. No, I'm just kidding. But how do you keep it together? Like, how do you
Hmm.
behind the mic? Because I know with me, at one time I was thinking about doing what you do,
Hmm.
and I said, I told my instructor in school, you know, I don't like this song. I want to play what I want to play. He's like, with that mentality, Roswell, you can't you can't play just because stuff that you
Yeah.
want to hear. What you have to do with the audience like. I'm like, look, I'm the DJ, so what the hell with the audience? Okay.
You could be that DJ that wants to play what they like and be damned the audience,
Mhm.
and you cater to the audience that likes what you play. You could be that DJ, and if you've reached success being that DJ, that's great. But you can also be that DJ that only caters to the audience and
Mhm.
doesn't even really play what you like, and
Mhm.
then kind of be like very sad inside. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I like to think of myself somewhere in the middle. I like to, put on a good show and make everybody dance and know my audience and play the stuff that they like. But I also try and push the envelope and try and play things that I like, that I think people will like also as well. And it may or may not work, but I know when to, okay, that didn't work. Let me do something else. And that's, unfortunately, that's hard to teach. The only way to really learn that is in practice. And that's part of being a musician too, is going out there and also I'm practicing, and even
Mhm.
practicing in front of a crowd.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I keep thinking about the guitar and stuff. I mean, not to go off topic here, but
No,
back in
it's
the
fine.
days, I thought like
Yeah.
guitars were just like, you're just using your finger and go. Da-da-da. I
Hmm.
didn't realize it's like a
It's like a muscle memory. You have to
yeah.
get your hand to get used to doing the chords that you need, and yeah, I could go on about that too. But I don't do guitar, but yeah, I teach at Guitar Center in Tampa, so I see
Oh,
all
cool.
the guitar instructors and what they go through with their
Cool.
students. So
You're so talented. There's so much to you. I'm wondering about. I mean, even before I read your profile, I mean, look, you're a good. You're a guitar man now. As far as I'm concerned, you're a guitar man now. So look at you. I mean, oh my goodness, so many surprises here. That's great. And on top of that, GoBots. So, so that's learning a lot about Speedy here.
yeah.
Um, Now, the big one here.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm going to try to pronounce it correctly, so please forgive me.
It's okay.
La Mezclaton.
La Mezclaton.
Okay,
Okay,
please
so
tell us about that,
I will
because on
tell
your
you about La
profile,
Mezclaton.
yeah, I'm
La
sorry.
Mezclaton is a
Yeah.
reggaeton urban show. It originally was I will play merengues and bachatas too in its inception. Um, it's a mixed show to because I just wanted to play things that I wanted to play on the radio, and I couldn't.
Mhm.
I can't. And in working in commercial radio, you have to play.
Mhm.
The hits. So sometimes you couldn't get behind everything new and stuff like that. And I was very Give me 1 second.
Yeah, take your
I
time.
was
Take your
very
time.
behind very active when reggaeton was popular here in the Tampa Bay area, and I did a lot of nightclubs back in the day. Um, we do we perform like in front of like 2,000, 3,000 people, reggaeton
Mhm.
nights, all reggaeton, and so I have a passion for that genre as well. Um, and I wanted to do a show that I could showcase new reggaeton songs and even bachata songs. But it was then as well was part of the show and stuff like that, and or Latin urban because the Latin urban encompasses all the genres: bachata, even merengue, even salsa too. You know, and that was my outlet. I said I'm just gonna do my own little radio show, and put it up, and people could listen to it on YouTube or on a streaming platform, or if they don't like it, then they just tune out, and life goes on. So
Mhm.
it's a different approach to what we just talked about. Where now
Mhm.
I am kind of like playing stuff that I'm co-signing or that I really really enjoy, versus anything else. And the show became more popular for the reggaeton urban side. So now it's I'm sticking to that genre, full, the reggaeton urban side on the show, and now it is
Mhm.
syndicated on four different internet radio stations,
Cool.
which La Mezcla Radio is one, LatinoMix.com. They're from Long Island, New York, so
Mhm.
they service that local community with an online radio station. So the show's on there as well. La Nueva Era Punto Radio, which is for the Rochester, New York local area. There's also
Mhm.
a online radio station that services the local area, as well. And then there's Zeno Radio, which I have it on there too. And also it is in Spain in
Wow.
terrestrial radio on a regular radio station in Spain, Activate FM, which can be heard in Bilbao, which is like the south of Spain, and they have what they call repeaters all over the country. And I think the only part that you really can't hear that radio station is in the capital, unfortunately, Madrid. But yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
But
very
yeah, so
universal.
I'm very blessed.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to keep doing it, um and that's the history of La Mezclaton. There you go.
So where are you going? Like, where do you see yourself? I mean, look, you know what's cool? Like 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago.
Hmm.
Yeah, let's go back to 10. Wow. Did you ever think you would ever come this far? Like, was it all
Well,
in the plan?
when
You
I
know?
when I started, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be the best Latin DJ in Tampa, right? And then when and I don't say that I did it, but I would say that I was in such high demand that I felt like I can't do anymore. I was just like, I just want to DJ, you know, and make people feel happy, you know, um, and I'm just every time something great happens, I'm completely blown away by every blessing that keeps happening, with this journey that I'm on. And I've had moments that I'm like, oh, what am I doing? Oh, why am I still DJing? Or you know what I mean? But it's still fulfilling to me.
Hmm.
So I even look at like like there's a lot of famous house music DJs that are like in their 80s still DJing. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I feel like I could be that. I'd be that guy is just still doing parties and playing. Whenever they want to book me. You know what I mean? And I just don't get tired of it. It's very fulfilling to me still to this day. And you know, I try and do things that just fill in my pour in my back in my cup. There you go. But
Uh,
and so every day, whenever something new happens, I'm just completely, super grateful and you know, and, and I just keep pushing the envelope because who knows, what could happen, or maybe nothing happens. Maybe I just stay here in my nerd room for the rest of my life, streaming live, and that's okay with me.
yeah, that's okay. Which I mean, it's I might be there with you. You never know. Me and
Yeah,
me and Cop Tour or
yeah.
Crasher or one of the two. No, no. But I'm gonna. This leads me to my next question. It's great that you
Hmm.
say. I like the part when you say you were gonna be the world's greatest DJ, but then you realize just making people happy. And it goes back to this. Before I ask you the next question, it goes back to
Hmm.
this cool folks platform. What I'm doing at first, I was like, let me be mean and greedy and be like, I'm the top social media
Right,
guy. But then I said, you know what? I enjoy what I do. I love what I'm doing. I mean, I forget about income and all of that stuff. I learned to be more passionate about what I do. So
right.
with that being said, I used to work at ABC Television a long time ago in New
Oh well.
York, actually ABC TV
Hmm.
in 98 was my first TV job. I worked behind, well, actually, I was a researcher, a TV researcher, and I
Okay.
interviewed celebrities, and I got to, hang out at parties in New York and meet this person and that person. This one, it was like,
Right,
back then it was all TV, nothing to do with radio or dance or
right,
whatever.
right, right.
So, but the point is that, my parents were like anti against it. They were like, finish school, get your master's. I mean, I did. I got my bachelor's, my
Hmm.
master's, do the PhD doctoral stuff. That's great. But on the side, I always had a touch, for the media and publicity and the spotlight, and I could not escape that. So, uh, my mom told me, she's like, I mean, if you're gonna be stubborn, I'm stubborn. I'm a typical Sagittarius, November kid. I'm very stubborn. Um, if she like, son, if you're gonna do this media stuff, there's a lot of competition, a lot of like, you're gonna come home crying one day, you're gonna be in so all that stuff you hear about. And I said, okay, well, it is what it is. Like God is with me, He's not gonna let me down. So then my mom told me, well, here's a secret for you, son. To always remember this, and I'm remembering it now as we speak. Competition. There's always going to be competition, right? In
Yes.
everything that you and I do and everyone else. Even when we die, there's going to be competition. So my mom told me there's no competition. If you love what you do and people can see that, and if you are real and true to the media world, they'll see you for who you are. When people see you for who you are, there's no competition. You don't have to worry about competing against your friend or competing against your neighbor and stuff. I mean, the world is going to come to you. You're not going
Amen.
to go to the world.
Yes, sir.
So I always kept that in the back of my head. And remember, this was in '98. And it kept me up to this point, even with this bachata stuff and kufa, because there's a lot of times, as this stuff, you can get discouraged. You could be like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I just hurt my family and my friends. But then when I think about what my mom said, I mean, like, if you love what you do, and this goes back to what you were saying an hour ago, in that direction, if you're passionate about what you do, or you start off on one angle, but then again, this journey takes you into a deeper journey that you never imagined. And before you know it, you're not even thinking about how much money I'm making or you're making. You're just thinking about, I just I'm just doing it because I love it and I'm making people happy. So that's how I feel. So when I look back to
Mm-hmm.
'98, I'm like, what a journey. There are a lot of people that got burnt out. A lot of people, they had divorces, they end up in jail, they high school dropout.
Yeah.
Me, I'm
I,
just doing it because I love to do, not like, love to do. And I think when people see that in me, when I'm real, they come to me and I don't need to go to them. Yes, there's competition. Yes, there are times I gotta like call this person and go on this line and try to make my name known. But most of the time, it's just me walking into a room of celebrities and they're like, "Oh, it's Roswell. It's really Roswell." You know. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the question that I'm going to ask you, Mr. Gonzalez, how do
yes.
you overcome competition?
Hmm. The DJing, especially in the local market, has always been competitive. Even when I started, it was like you were doing that nightclub, and we're trying to do this Latin night here, and radio station. I mean, I'm still in a competitive situation. Right? I mean, the radio market is still competitive to this day. We have two big companies, SBS and iHeart, competing against us here in this market for the Latin audience. Um, I'm been doing it so long that my my theory on it is I just focus on what we need to do or what I need to do, and I try not to worry about what anybody else is doing anymore. And that goes for from a nightclub to a dance social to radio work to any video work to anything. I just try and make sure that I'm doing what I need to do, and it's uh, gonna properly represent me, and I don't really worry about the rest. And that's the way I approach everything. As now, the younger Speedy Junior uh, probably learned the hard way. you know, I would oh man, those other people are doing something, and it takes a little a while of maturity and growing to learn, how to deal with that. With competition, you're always going to be competing against somebody. There's probably like a dozen of people alive right now, that we're competing with. So
Yeah, they're all trying to get my Roswell haircut. No one's getting my Jerry curls, all right,
hey,
guys? So let me just stop right there. Only one Roswell with the Jerry curls. Anyway, um, then this leads me, and this is a good time to ask you the next
mm-hmm.
Roswell question. Okay? It's a Saturday night, Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes,
right?
sir.
In a big city. It
Mm-hmm.
can be Tampa, it can be New York, it can be Japan, it can be
Okay.
wherever, Saturday night. Okay? You got these five organizers. They're
Mm-hmm.
they're big shots. They've been in the business for a long time. They got all the money. I don't know where they get it from, whatever. But they're very um uh they're very like business like or whatever how I can say this. But but check this out. Okay, you and I, we go to an event to this
Mm-hmm.
city, right, on a Saturday night.
Yes, sir.
These five organizers, they
Mm-hmm.
have their events sort of like
Mm-hmm.
a few couple miles away from each other,
Right.
same
Mm-hmm.
time and
They're
whatever,
definitely
blah
competing
blah
against each
blah.
other. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here's where things get complicated. So this guy, Johnny, he's like, Russell, you got to come to my event. All these celebrities going to be there. You got this and that. You got to show. I'm like, sure, yeah, yeah. All right. So I go, and there's only like maybe under 45 people that are
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
And Johnny, as I know from what I've heard, he invested like $11,000 for this event. For the DJ, the drinks, the food, all of
Right.
that stuff. So okay, give it some time. Maybe it's early in the night. You know. Okay. But I go back, a little later, and still, the count is very low.
Right.
Still. So I didn't say anything. Also, during that night, I got an invitation to go to Sheila's event, right?
Mm-hmm.
And remember, they all live, not too far from one another, and they have similar dance events or whatever. She's like, "Oh, Russell, we heard you're in town, and nice, come, blah, 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 blah." And I stay for a little bit. The music is great and the food is great. But then I notice, I look around, I'm very self observant, being I'm a
Mhm.
legal type of person. Maybe like 24, 25 people. And I know how much money she invested a lot, twice as much, more than this guy. I thought a little bit of people to show up. Okay. Okay. Fine. Whatever. I go to this next event, right? I don't know, Carlos. I'm just making up this name. So Carlos is like a big shot. He like $25,000, for his events, right? Carlos has like all these like you know um drinks, different types of drinks, and different types of food, and different types of music. He had the beautiful workshops. He invited this person and that person, but these people that showed up, it was only like maybe four or five guests, like real celebrities, and the rest were just the public, and the public was average to maybe maybe under 18 people, right? All that money this guy invested, only 18 people can show up for the entire night. So okay, so I said to myself, let me stop over here and check out this person, because I heard this person has an event.
Mhm.
So I give a surprise Russell visit, right? I know this person just had a lot of, something like these three,
Mhm.
like lots of money. We're not talking about $100. We're talking about lots of money. And then you have like maybe like I don't know, 14 people that showed up for the entire night. And I know
Right.
that as a fact because I went back and it's the same number. I kept track
Mhm.
of everything mentally,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Then the last person, Keo, very nice guy, super nice, very very nice. Okay, but lots of money this kid had, and I felt bad because only maybe like about like I don't know, maybe like 11 or 12 people showed up and they stayed for the night. Okay, so here's my problem. Monday morning comes along, Mr. Gonzalez. Check this
Mhm.
out. I'm not an
Mhm.
accountant, but analyzing what happened, it makes me think. So the accountant or the bookkeeper, you know, goes to our friend here and say, this is how much you made. You invested $10,000, but you only get $120 in your pocket.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, this person here, Sheila. Okay, lots of money, lots of money. Her bookkeeper said you only getting like out of like close to 18,000 that you did, you're only getting maybe like
Mhm.
$210.14,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Oh, that's bad. All
Yeah.
that money. Okay,
Absolutely.
okay. The third person. Oh, I don't even want to think about that. If they're getting like not
Probably
even.
in the hole.
Let's not go. This person here, okay,
Probably also
the
in the
one
hole
that I
too.
gave a surprise visit, who just had like maybe 18,000 or whatever, probably only
Mhm.
getting like maybe like $105 or whatever. Okay, I'm just hypothetically saying. Okay, they get to keep. Because they have to pay for the DJ, the drink, security guards, oh blah blah, all that stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
Guest flights, because some of the guests came from Peru or Spain or whatever. Now a little friend here, as nice as this kid is, very nice, he probably only get like maybe like $220, and he
Mhm.
invested like maybe close to like um $28,000 for this event or whatever. Okay, I'm just saying. I know these
Mhm.
numbers are kind of way off, as everyone knows.
No,
I'm
it's
not an
fine. No.
accountant,
Yeah. No, I
but the
get it.
point is, check this out, bro. Check this
Mhm.
out, sir. The point is that next Saturday comes. You get a phone call. I get a phone call. We'll get a phone call, and we
Yeah.
go and we do the whole thing over again. Da 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 da. Now the problem is that I don't know if these people are like brain dead, or maybe it's a matter of machoism or stubbornism, or maybe they have free money and help with the economy and whatever. They do the whole thing over again. So my problem, as cool man who love the bachata, 'cause I like to support everyone. In my head, I was saying, if I had that amount of money, why am I not learning my lesson now? Why would I be having the a similar event back to back with my other four
Mhm.
competitors now?
Right.
And I mean, am I doing this every Saturday night because I'm trying to prove something to them or prove to me, or am I just maybe there's something I'm not getting, and maybe there is. So I'm going to ask you,
Yes,
who's
sir.
been in this business for a super long time,
Yes, very
okay,
long
and
time.
you probably seen more than I have and
Hmm.
stuff, experience and stuff. Um, how can our five amigos, like, how could this have been? How could this have not happened in the first? How is it? Could it be maybe because of support? Maybe the people don't support one another, or maybe they do support one another, or maybe they have to choose, or maybe they should not even have it back to back on the
Hmm.
same night. I mean,
Well,
how could this? How could this not happen this Saturday that's coming up?
well,
You know, I don't want to go out this Saturday and
right.
see this. Like,
Hmm.
how can this not happen if I go out on Saturday? What must
Unfortunately,
need to be done in order for something like this not to happen?
so to put it more in perspective for everybody,
Please.
this is happening on a Saturday night, but then there's also all this other stuff and my toes and fingers happening on a Saturday night that you could possibly do also. You can go to the movies. You can go shopping at the mall, and now you're tired. Now not gonna go nowhere. You can go for dinner with your significant other. We can keep going on and on and on. Um, So if I know I have if I'm a business person, okay, and I'm doing a specific event, I don't care if you have a dance school, if you're just a promoter that likes to do dance events, if you have a nightclub that caters to dancers, what I don't care what it is. You're a business person, okay. You have to look at the market and say, oh dang, there's 4 events going on that is targeting the audience that I'm trying to target. Maybe since I'm late to the game and I see these 4 events, maybe I should reschedule my event. Okay. But the problem is that some of those people come from whatever background, and we could go on and on and on about that. And sometimes they say a stubbornness comes in, and also pride comes in, and they say, you know what, I'm gonna have my X event because X, Y, Z, and whatever reasoning they just fill in with those letters, and they decide to have the event, and you know, and hey, at the end of the day, we never take none of the money with us, right? And maybe if that what makes them happy to do events and lose money, just to say I did an event, that's great. People throw parties and lose tens of $1,000s every day just getting a wedding done or a quinceañera or some private event with a family or whatever. And if that's what they want to do, that's fine. They're more than welcome. But if you're going to be a business person, you have to say, okay, this business model is not working. I cannot go against all these events. You know what I mean? And us as the party goers, we have to look critically and say, okay, what fills into my cup as a dancer? Do I like the DJs performing here? Do I like the acts that are going to perform here? Do I want to support that school or that nightclub or whatever it is, that event or that promoter, and make a good decision that you feel comfortable with and go to it. And you know what? Maybe when you go to that event, there's only 20 people there, but at least you went to an event that pours into your cup, and you went to support it. And I wouldn't, you know, your mileage may vary if you want to go try and party hop. There's only so much time in the nighttime, to go to 3 or 4 different events. you know, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard because not only you have 5 guys trying to do a dance event. Forget about the dance events. Now you got everything else in the world too. The world is open. The COVID's done. The world is open. You can go do anything. Maybe there's a concert that has nothing to do with the dance scene. You know, Beyonce's in town. Or whatever. You know what I mean? I mean, are you're gonna beat yourself up because you had a dance party, and half your audience went to go see Beyonce? You know, but you have to start critically looking at what's going on, the date you want to do something, and and plan the best. And sometimes, even when you do that, sometimes you still fail, and you're like, oh dang, there's this big concert happening. I should have maybe done this event, or there's a big social happening in Orlando or Tampa, and maybe I shouldn't have done my social that weekend, or we can go on and on and on, but
Yeah. I'm just thinking.
it really stems from being you're gonna do it out of spite and pride, your event. Hey, more power to you, you know, more power to you. Or you're gonna be a business person and think critically and pick a good date, that you have a good return. because you're making an investment, you know. And if you're spending all that kind of money too, and you don't have an LLC or a little, at least a fictitious name business, what are you writing off? You know what I mean? You're just throwing away money if you don't.
I mean, I always think like, I mean, if this was a perfect world, I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
don't do events or anything. I just go and stuff. But I
Yeah.
figure there's like five of them, and they just come
Mm-hmm.
together,
Mm-hmm.
guys.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
put your pride away or
Yeah.
whatever. Come together
Sometimes.
and split it. And plus, that makes it easier for people like
Yeah.
the guests, like you and
Yeah.
I, so we don't have to decide to go here for 2 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
then jump an Uber to go uptown to her event, then come
Mm-hmm.
back downtown to go to his event.
Yeah.
That's a lot of running around for cool
Yep.
people
Mm-hmm.
who love to
But that's
bachata.
when you as a consumer has to say, okay, let's make a good decision. Let's make a good party decision. We're gonna go dancing tonight. There's these events going on. Let's make a good decision. Which one we're gonna go to? Okay, we're gonna go to that one. Great. I'm gonna go to that one. All right, good. You know.
Okay, that's good. Okay, great. Okay, so let me ask you this, Mr. Gonzalez. You're I know you're a granddad. You're a granddad.
Yes,
You don't look like a granddad.
I know. Everybody tells me that, but I feel like one.
No, you don't look like
I sure
one.
as heck feel like
But
one.
um, when I was a kid, I I was told because my family, I mean, my parents migrated to this country, and
Right.
just like every, like most family, when my parents migrated here, they were like, okay, we don't want you to suffer like we do, kid, son, just make sure you do something with your life, go to school, get a college education, all that good stuff, we don't want to hear about drawing and acting and dancing and DJing and all of that stuff. Not in this house, right?
Right.
Um, but in my heart, I always knew I was a cool man who loved the bachata. I always knew that I had a thing for the art and stuff. So even though, you know, I'm doing this corporate stuff and I wear ties and I hang out with
Mm-hmm.
attorneys and whatever, there's a side of me, and it showed when I was in Orlando. There's a side of me that, well,
That's
like
great, man.
hell with corporate America in the world, hell
Yeah.
with what my parents say.
Hell yes.
I love to do what I want to do. But kids nowadays are very rebellious. They're very rebellious. It's not like you and I back in the days, like if we were rebellious, our parents would beat the crap out of us with a pit pan.
Yeah.
Kids nowadays, they talk back to their parents and their parents like, I'm afraid of you. It's a different life now. So what if a young child comes up to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they come up to you and they say, Sir, I'm determined to leave home. I'm just, I'm going to become the next Speedy Jr.
I'd say don't
A
do
lot
it.
of pressure here. A lot of pressure here. See what you did, man?
Yeah.
So the kid comes up to you and he's like, I want to follow your footsteps. I see what you do. Forget school and whatever. I'm going to do exactly what you do. I know, blah, blah, blah. And you can tell in his or her eye, they have what it takes to make it. But then again, remember, you lived that life before. They haven't lived the life you've seen. You don't know. They haven't seen how hard it is. Like competition's a struggle. It's not
Yeah.
just but playing your favorite music and let's go dancing. It's that and a whole
Mm-hmm.
bunch more that they don't know yet. But how do you not discourage the little one? I mean, you don't want to say, you know what,
Yeah. No, absolutely.
you don't want to do that. But how do you
Absolutely.
guide them? It's like a parental question. I want to ask you specifically because, you're a kid. I mean, you have a child, you have a grandkid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how?
You have to break it down to them just the way very similar to how we've approached the questions
Mhm.
today. You have to break it down to them and give them the reality. You know what I mean? Worst case
Mhm.
scenario, they don't listen to you anyway, and they decide to learn the hard way. And fortunately for my immediate children who are adults now, they seem to like to learn the hard way for some real reason. Even though as much as I tell them how not to do things and how to operate, they seem to be determined to this day to keep doing things the
Oh,
hard way. And
wow.
it is what it is. But at least for your sanity and for not lack of trying, at least You
Hmm.
have to break it down to them. You know what I mean? And talk and explain to them it's not all daisies and rainbows. It's
Right.
it's life, and life is not kind at times. You know, it's like the Rocky movie, a very famous Rocky Balboa quote. It'll hit knock you down and keep knocking you down, and you gotta keep going. You gotta get up. You gotta get up and keep going. That's pretty much it. And you have to be willing to be open minded and learn new things, and you be ready to get prepared. Just like when when people sign you when our government signs you up for the military service, they don't just throw you with a gun and put you out in the desert, or in the Arctic. They start with basic training, and then depending on your job, they start teaching you that. You know what I mean? So it's very, life is kind of similar to that. You know?
They don't throw you out there and say, "Go shoot a rooster and bring it home."
Yeah. No,
Show us
no.
what you can do to the
Yeah, show
government.
us what you can
Show
do.
us,
Come
Sam.
back.
Yeah, shoot a rooster, not a
Yeah.
chicken. I don't know. I mean, I watch too much TV, but yeah, shoot a rooster. You can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Show the government what you can do.
Yep.
But I'm smiling because when you said the world is
It's
the
not
world
kind.
is
Yeah.
not that the world could be mean. I'm thinking it's true because they took my car. Okay, everyone's gonna know what happened. Everyone's gonna know on social
Tell them the
media.
story.
Roswell forgot to pay the last 3 months of the new brand Honda, and they decided to take his car away during dinner. And the guy literally took it away while I was
Yeah,
having
the
my
repo man. He
spaghetti.
will. He will. He
Yeah,
will take your stuff when least expected.
I'm like, bro, I'm having dinner. Let's discuss this after. He's like, no, 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 no. No, I was like, so everyone knows I paid $14,000, my life savings
Oh my goodness.
last week to get my car back because I skipped my first three payments. I was refinancing my car
Mm-hmm.
and a brand new car, and I forgot this. I figured, I'm cool man. I love the bachata. Everyone knows me, even Honda. Okay, I'm sorry. There's a lawsuit there. So even Honda knows me. Like, oh, we're not gonna take cool man. I love the bachata car away because he
They
skipped like
will.
four payments. I'm like,
They will.
dude, the economy is bad. I couldn't pay. So zim zam boom. You only have one option, Roswell. You pay for the full car. I'm like, what? What about customer service? Like the guy is me. There is no
That's
customer
their
service here,
customer
Roswell.
service.
This is
That's
not
it.
Facebook. He
Yeah.
said that. Like, this is not Facebook. You pay the
Funny.
money or your car's going to auction in 8 days.
Wow.
Yeah, guy's mean. I'm
Yep.
like, fine. I'm never gonna put you on my Bachata Facebook. I wrote his name down. Even if your kids are dancers, they're never gonna join
Never.
Kufos Love the
Never
Bachata
ever.
because you're a bastard. Anyway, they took my car away. I got it back, and to make a long story short, the advice you give to kids. I mean, I just want everyone to know that yes, things are fun. This is a great world to live in. But
Mm-hmm.
on the flip side,
Absolutely.
you know this it's hard. Like,
Yeah.
America is very, I always tell my friend, I know I'm going off the subject here a little
That's
bit,
fine.
but a lot of my friends who don't live in America, some of them live like overseas, and they hear America's great, New York is great, California is great, yes, there's opportunities here for everyone, but it's hard here to survive. Things just don't like happen like that. You got to work hard, and there are bad people among us, and we have to go around the bad people. So little ones don't see that. Especially when you talked about your kids, like how they're determined. As you
Mm-hmm.
know, same with my mom. She's always telling me I'm determined. When you're young, in general, you don't see the badness. You don't see the harm of the world until you get there. And as a parent, a grandparent and stuff, you want to protect your kid and your
Yeah.
grandkid so they don't
Mm-hmm.
see that. But then they're so
Exactly.
determined. So that's what I
They're
was
so.
asking you
They're
that
just.
question,
Yeah.
like how do you handle something like that? And that was a great response, you
Thank you. Thank
know?
you. I appreciate it. It's it boggles my mind to this day, but it's the great mysteries of life, I guess.
Oh my God. Okay. We talked about a lot of stuff today,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Speedy Jr.
What else you want to know,
Um,
my friend?
I would like to ask you about upcoming events or places that you're going to be, or
Oh
what are some
yes.
stuff you would like to share to the public as to what wonderful events are coming up that you're part of?
Yeah, I have a lot of events. So regularly, if I do dance socials, I do festivals, I do regular nightclubs, top 40 nightclubs. Um, of course, I would like to invite you to my YouTube channel. You can get all my mixes, all kinds of different mixes that I put up there, and that's
Cool.
two words, Speedy Junior. Okay. I have a Mixcloud as well. If you prefer Mixcloud, Speedy Junior. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. You can follow me on Instagram at DJ SpeedyJR. Okay. And then as far as my regular parties, weekly, every Friday, late night, I'm at Jefe nightclub in Tampa. That's a more tropical salsa merengue bachata night. It's on the corner, almost the corner of Armenia and Hillsborough and Tampa, very famous corner. And I invite you to come check me out Friday nights there. Okay, whenever you are in town, or if you're already in
Oh,
Tampa, by all means, come on
nice
by. You'll have a
to
good time. Yeah. Saturdays I do more top 40 English, with a little bit of Latin too, and some reggae dancehall and some Afrobeat. I do that at Eden. That's in downtown Tampa. I'm inside the patio, so it's weather permitting. When it's raining, I'm probably not there. But if it's a nice Saturday night, I'm usually there. Eden downtown Tampa, and I do more hip hop and top 40, and mix it with Latin and reggaeton, and we do some salsa merengue bachata there too as well. Okay. And you're all invited there. That's downtown Tampa on Franklin Street in downtown Tampa, Eden, on a Saturday. And Sundays, I do a nightclub in Dunedin, Florida, which is close to the Clearwater side, if you're familiar with that. So it's in the Pinellas County side of town. It's called Blur. Like if I got too close to my camera, it became blur like that. And it's a Latin night on the Sunday. It's like a matinee time, 7 to midnight, completely free. And March 10th, we're celebrating our 1 year anniversary, and I have a live salsa band, Innovation, and it's completely free. And I try and keep it a lot of salsa and bachata that night. But I may play some top 40 Latin, some reggaeton, depending on the crowd and the audience, right? And then as far as dancer social events that I have coming up in the future, let me get my ducks in a row here. Sorry. What else do I have? We have on the February 29th is a Thursday. There is a class, a school that is called Salsa Extreme. They teach salsa rueda, which is the Cuban casino style of dancing, like in a circle and stuff like that. I will be DJing their social at Studio Flavor Tampa, which is the same place we did the Ritmo Urbano Invitational. That's on February 29th. It's on a Thursday night. Okay, so I'll be doing a lot of timba and salsa that night for that audience. Let's see. I do an old school reggaeton event every holiday Sunday at Room 1701 in Tampa. That's my party. I promote that. I'm the promoter and DJ. So look out for that. We'll have the advertising for that up soon. But Memorial Day Sunday is the party for that, and it's always at Room 1701 in Tampa. Just Dance Tampa Bay. It will be the next. Oh, sorry, no. Baila Tampa is the next big dance social. And that's Tato Salsa and Kerry do that event. Shouts out to them, and they always have me every year. And I appreciate them for that. And that's gonna be May 2nd to May 5th, so Cinco de Mayo in St. Petersburg, downtown. I think it's the Hyatt in St. Petersburg. So go to bailatampa.com and get those passes. You want to come dance with us? I'll probably be doing all the pool parties. I don't know if I'll be doing the nighttime socials, but there's always a great DJ lineup for that event. Okay. Just Dance Tampa Bay is also a social in Tampa, which is in August, the 1st to the 4th. That's done by Dancing Motion USA here in Tampa. That's the school that does that event. And that's a great different social. What's good about that social is they also include break dancing and hip hop dance as well, and they have a room dedicated to that as well. So they have a salsa room and a bachata room, and then like a get crazy room. So for lack of better words, that's always fun. Sarasota, shouts out to Carrie and her husband. Sarasota Salsa and Bachata Festival this year is August 29th to September 2nd, which is Labor Day weekend. And that's over there in that Hyatt over there in Sarasota. So uh, I'm looking forward to that as well. And this is my second year doing the Salsa Cruise. The Salsa Cruise is will be celebrating their 26th year of doing the Salsa Cruise event. There's not a lot of bachata happening on the Salsa Cruise, but if you are a salsa fan, you will like it. They have a lot of live acts. This year they have Charlie Aponte, who is the ex-singer of Gran Combo of Puerto Rico. He is the main act. They also have Lucito Carrion. He is a famous Puerto Rican salsa singer. Many great salsa bands like Bobby Valentin, stuff like that. He used to sing for back in the day. He's awesome. Moncho Rivera is the other famous headliner. He does a lot of the festivals in Puerto Rico. Like if you go on vacation in Puerto Rico and you go to like the center of town, they sing La Placita in Spanish, or the plaza. It's always in all those old Spaniard towns. They always have the center of town, and whenever they have the fiesta patronales, or the festivals of the town, they book certain artists to come all the time, and Moncho Rivera is one of those artists they always book. So he's like, you always see him and doing all those festivals all the time in Puerto Rico. So if you're around vacation, you'll probably see him by accident. You know what I mean? But he is the grandson of the late Ismael Rivera Jr., with a famous singer, Puerto Rican singer. So he sings all those old classics of his great grandfather, and of course new music that he does too as well. So he's also on the cruise. Los Adolescentes Orchestra from Venezuela. You've probably heard of them. They sing a lot. They have a lot of great hits like Angelo and Persona Ideal and stuff like that. They're from Venezuela, kids from Venezuela, and they'll be on the boat as well. Los Adolescentes Orchestra, and yeah, and me, I'll be DJing on the boat. So that's November 1st to the 5th, and leaving Miami on the Norwegian Gem, goes to Cozumel, Mexico, and comes back. And for more information, salsacruise.com. Just that simple. Salsacruise.com. And you can use my code DJ Speedy, and you get some sort of discount, I think. And that's it as far as events. Yeah.
Want to come give you a hug.
I'm busy.
Right now. Want to give you a Russell hug.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
I do love. I used to go. I used to go to San Juan for vacation. What's that place called? Cantado Beach?
Catano?
Yeah, yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
used to go every September for
Yeah,
vacation, and
very
then
nice.
I stopped going. Because like I when the hurricane happened
Right.
a few years ago, you know that big one,
Mm-hmm.
Hurricane
Yes, sir.
Maria. Yeah, that big one that happened where all the everyone was in generators
Mm-hmm.
for a long time and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just like maybe 5, 6 years ago, and so I haven't been back to
Yeah, try it.
PR
When
since
you have
that.
time, try and come back. Puerto Rico's
Yeah,
is waiting for you.
I
They call
missed
it
that.
the island of enchantment for a reason.
I missed going there. The people were so laid back and
Mm-hmm.
friendly and very peaceful.
Yeah,
It's a different vibe from
it
America.
is. It is.
Different
It is a very
vibe.
different vibe. It is a
I
very
miss
different vibe.
that. I miss going there. But I definitely have to go. Oh, that's what I meant to ask you. Well, first of all, thank you for all of those descriptions. I appreciate it. And
No, no problem.
so there's a place. Let's see. When I was in Tampa,
Mm-hmm.
where did I go to Tampa? So I went for a seminar, like was it 5 years ago?
Mm.
There was a place I visited called Ybor City.
Yes,
Ybor.
Ybor City. That
That's
is
what.
part of our downtown, but it's our historic part of downtown. And yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, yeah. I attended a couple events there. Oh, New Year's Eve. Now I remember. Yes, yes. I was in Tampa for New Year's Eve like five
Oh,
years
okay.
ago. Now I remember.
Awesome.
Yes, Ybor. Now it's hitting me. I'm sorry. I was in yeah, that place, Ybor City
Ybor
at a
City. Yep.
yeah for New Year's Eve, and it was a salsa, half bachata event, and that was great. New Year's Eve in Tampa was like amazing.
Oh, it's awesome, man. I'm glad
Amazing.
you had a good time. I was in Eden doing a New Year's Eve party in downtown Tampa, so I was close to you.
I want you to do me a super big favor. because you seem super organized more than I am. All of these events that are
Yes,
going
sir.
on all the way from now till November and stuff, and all these big stuff, even everything.
Mm-hmm.
Please share them. Share them.
Oh yeah.
I know Tamara Salsa and Carrie share them, Bernie, but you share them too. You share
Okay. Yeah.
what you have to
Absolutely.
share on the
I'm gonna put
Bachata
them
Facebook.
in the comments of the group thing right now.
Yeah,
At
yeah,
least
yeah.
my
And when
last.
you share them, put it like
Yeah.
on the what you call it, like the Facebook, because a lot of people they post like they share it, but it goes in the chat room and stuff. But I want to make sure everyone sees your stuff.
Thank you.
I want to make sure everyone sees everyone's stuff. So so let me be careful what I say live before I get yelled at. No, I want when cool folks love the bachata. If you guys are listening, this is a good time to say
Thank you.
this.
I just threw it up right there now.
Yeah, when you guys post stuff, um, try to post it on the cool folks page, because when you guys put it in the chat rooms and stuff, I don't really, I mean, no, just try to post it on the same page so I can reshare it. So, but Mr. Gonzalez, all your events are wonderful, so please,
Thank you
please,
so
please
much.
share it out. Even when I see them, I'll try to repost them. But and I want to say, when you come to New York
Yes,
for a
sir.
visit, or New Jersey or DC, I normally hang out in up here, like New York, New Jersey, DC. Let
Okay.
me know. I want to introduce you to some people up here
Yeah.
in the
Absolutely.
in the business, in the dance industry, and the
Yeah.
music industry that you would love. And when I come down south, um, whether it's Miami, Tampa, I am planning to come down to Tampa soon because Tamara, Bernie, and everyone's saying, Russell, you gotta,
Shouts out
I
to
really
them.
I don't want to get yelled at. So when I come down there, I will let you know. I will let you know in advance so I can, you know, come to your event, or I might just give
Absolutely.
you
Just
a
let me know. You'll
Roswell.
be my guest, Roswell. Don't worry.
Okay, okay. But I want to say it was a pleasure speaking with you, and I learned a lot about you, and I'm sure everyone else did. And the advice you gave for kids is super helpful that you said.
Thank you. Thank you
And
so much.
everything that you said is a virtue. It's very
Thank you.
noble, and is very
Thank you.
humble
Thank you,
as
sir.
well. The
Thank you very much.
conversation we had. Okay,
Thank you.
so and one of the main reasons, and I just want to close with by saying that another main reason I do this Cool Folks Love the Bachata stuff is I always feel that whatever you guys say live can maybe help someone who's suffering right now. Maybe there's
Yes, sir.
someone who's sad. Maybe someone who's going through a divorce. Maybe they lost someone. Maybe you don't know what's going on
Oh,
in
the
the
gambit of things.
world
Yeah,
while we talk.
absolutely.
So
Hmm.
maybe by you talking and I talking, maybe it's helping. Maybe it just helps someone. Maybe they'll be
Yeah.
like, dancing is going to save me, or say, So this is one of the reasons I do these shows, not only for publicity and blah blah blah, but really to help people. You know,
Yes, sir.
to
Yes,
really
sir.
help people.
I hope I hope that's true. And then if anybody I hope my words reached somebody. And thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, and you have to come back
Yes,
definitely. Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. Whenever you want me to come back, by all means, and I'll answer all your questions.
Okay, my friend. It was nice meeting you, and you have a good night. Thank you
Yeah,
so
you
much.
too, sir.
Okay.
Have a good night. Okay, be safe. Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime.
All right, cool folks who love to bachata. Have a good one, everybody. Be safe.
Good night.
Good night.